Hello everyone, welcome to the June 2024 past paper discussion. And one thing about this paper is the students scored lower marks compared to the previous papers because this was the first paper which was conducted in the new syllabus. So make sure you give your 100% focus when you're watching the video, and the most effective way in learning this, in doing this past paper, is make sure every past paper you do it by yourself first and then come back and look at the recordings. Okay, so this is what will give you the most effective way of obtaining the knowledge. Why? That is because once you have done the paper, it would be very easy for you to grab it once we give our explanations. And then one more thing, in June 2024 we are really happy that this institute we were able to produce the highest marks in the country. So you don't need to worry about anything else. Make sure you give your 100% focus. And then first of all, these types of questions in part C, okay, in part C of your paper, the last part, it has 3 questions, and then this carries 40 marks, which will significantly impact you whether you pass or not. So, and then in this part there will be 3 questions, and one will definitely be from corporation tax, which is companies related, and one will be related to individual taxes, and that will carry each 15 marks. And then there will be a 10-mark question that can come from anywhere of the syllabus. So first of all, we are going to do that 10-mark question, and before moving on to the question, make sure you always read the requirement, what the examiner wants. That is very important. If you understand what the examiner wants, you are on the right track. If you understand, and then if you move on to the scenario, you will be able to identify what you need to require, what is the information that is required, and what is the unnecessary information that the examiner has put in the question. So right now we are going to move on. So if you can, yes, the screen will be enlarged, and yes, here you can see, assuming the business is run as a company from 6th April 2023, calculate the tax payable by the 3 individuals, calculate the tax payable by the AAA Limited, and compare the total tax and NIC liabilities for partners and the tax as calculated plus the NIC, and state if there is any saving. Yes, and then clearly the examiner is giving you should indicate by using 0 any terms which are not taxable or deductible. You should assume that the rate of corporation tax remains unchanged. Yes, this is very important, and we are moving on to the scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the scenario, and I hope you have already done this question. And make sure when I am doing the question in the board, make sure you are not doing it, you are just watching it and you are understanding it, because that is the most effective way of learning, which will enable you to grab each and every topic as easy as possible, right? So we are moving on. This scenario relates to one requirement, so this clearly has given I hope the paper is with you, the question paper. And then you are a trainee chartered certified accountant. You should assume that today's date is 15 March 2023. You are a trainee chartered certified accountant dealing with the tax affairs of 3 people. There are 3 people who have been in the partnership since 6th April 2009. The partnership's profit have recently increased, so the partners are considering incorporating the partnership business on 6th April 2023, right? So there are so many information given. So first of all, what you need to do is, now I hope you have already understood what the examiner wants, and then we will be directly moving on to the question. Okay, So in the first part, as you can see, the partnership, if the partners continue to trade as a partnership, their total income tax liability and national insurance contribution. Okay, so everything is given. So where you need to start? Yes, first the partners income tax liability, that is very very important, and this is what you have to identify. Okay, so it is clearly given in the question that each will be paid gross director's remuneration of 50,270. So this is very easy. So we are moving on. The remuneration. The remuneration, how much is it? Yes, 50,270. 50,270 is the remuneration. Okay. And then the total amount of class 1 employee NIC payable of the director's remuneration will be 13,572. The total amount of class 1 employer NIC will be 17,044. So these are not taken into your into your expenses. And then during the year, AAA Limited will make a provision, will make a pension contribution of 20,000 into the company's occupational pension scheme. Okay, so this pension scheme, this is not related to employees, this will not be going out of their own money, so you don't need to do any adjustments, but make sure you show it as 0. Make sure this is very very important, as you have to show it as 0. And then moving on, during the tax year, AAA Limited will pay dividends of 9,000 to each of the 3 directors. So it is clearly given in the question, 9,000 for each and every director. Yes, now this is very important. Why? If the director is getting something, that person has to pay taxes. That is very important. Yes. And then that amount has to be included in this. Yes. So dividends, it is 9,000. So finally, if you move on, it will give you 50,270 plus 9,000 will give you 59,270. Okay. Now what the examiner wants? What the examiner wants is the taxable income and not the income tax liability. Make sure you understand the difference between taxable income and income tax liability. What the examiner wants is the taxable income or the income tax liability. Yes, you have to mention the tax payable. Yes, he wants the income tax liability, the final amount. Yes, that is very important. So make sure you do this. And then, so taxable income, you need to deduct one more thing. What to arrive at the taxable income? What is that? Yes, that is the personal allowance. Very important. Personal allowance. Personal allowance is very important. 12,570. And then if you reduce this, 59,270 minus 12,570 will give you 46,700. So this is the amount. Okay. So now you are going to calculate the income tax liability. That is very important. So now you have already reduced this, and then you need to understand that there are different tax brackets. Okay, so the basic rate band, the additional rate band, the higher rate, and then finally the additional rate. So there are 3 bands. Okay, 20%, 40%, and 45%. Where will you get this information? Yes, the tax rates and allowances document that has to be with you. It will be given to you during the examination. That is very very important. And then yes, so the first out of this, the first 37,700, yes, the first 37,700 will be taxed at 20%. How much is it? Yes, it will be taxed at 20%. 37,700. You get it at 20%, and this will give you 7,540. 7,540. And then what else? Yes. So there is how much is remaining out of this 46,700. You take 37,700 out. There is 9,000 remaining. What is the 9,000? Yes, this is the dividend. So if you are receiving a dividend, out of that dividend, first 1,000 you do not need to pay taxes. Make sure you need to remember those small concepts. If you have followed all my theory videos, this would be crystal clear for you. So the first 1,000 you will be taxed at 0%. There is no tax. So there is no tax for the first 1,000 rupees, for the first 1,000 pounds. And then the next one is the remaining 8,000. Okay, the remaining 8,000, how much is the tax rate? Yes, the tax rate is 33.75%. Where will you find this? Yes, this is available in the tax rates and allowances document. If you are a basic rate taxpayer, how much is this? So all the rates are available in the tax rates and allowances document. So that document is very important along with this past paper. So 33.75%. 33.75, and this will give you you multiply 8,000 by 33.75, and this will give you 2,700. Yes, 2,700. And then the total of all these, the total of all of these will give you an amount of 10,240. Okay, 10,240. This is the amount that each partner has to pay this amount. Okay, so each partner will be required to pay this amount, and if you multiply this by 3, this will give you the total value that a partner will be that all the 3 partners will be required to pay this 30,720. 30,720. So this is the value that all the partners will be required to pay. So now we are done with the first question. The second question, what they are asking? Yes. Let's move on to the scenario, the question again. Yes. Calculate the tax payable by AAA Limited. Yes. The company, how much of tax that the company would be required to pay. And this is something that is also very straightforward. And then, yes. So where do we need to start from? Yes, the total amount, the trading profit, which will give you 264,000. Okay, so the trading profit. So the trading profit, it is 264,000. 264,000 is your trading profit as given in the question. The question is in front of me. I hope the question is also in front of you, either in a physical document or in front of your computer, right? Okay. And then what else? Yes, the director's remuneration, which is another important. The director's remuneration. The director's remuneration. Why are we including this here? Yes, that is because this is an expenditure for your company. Yes, your company can reduce this expenditure when arriving at the taxable income. Yes, very important. So how much is the remuneration? Yes, 50,270. Yes, that is clearly given in the question, and you multiply it by 3 and it will give you 150,810. It will give you 150,810. You can reduce this. Yes, make sure to put it within the brackets. And then what else? Yes, there is a dividend here. Will you reduce the dividend? I want to know, is it a deductible expense? Dividend, is it a deductible expense? No. To arrive at the taxable income, you can never deduct dividend. Dividends are paid from the post tax profits. That is very important. Make sure you remember. So dividend you can never reduce, so make sure you have to show it as 0. Make sure this is very important in the exam, so that the examiner knows, even though dividend is available, you have not forgotten, but you know that this cannot be reduced. Okay, and then we are moving on. Okay, so the total class 1 employee NIC is an amount, and total class 1 employer NIC. Yes, what is employer NIC? Yes, employer contributes on behalf of the employee, so that once the employee leaves the company, he will be able to obtain this much money. Yes, so employer contribution. Employer contribution, how much is that? The total employer contribution, the total amount is 17,044. So that is also a deductible expense. 17,044 is also a deductible expense. And then moving on, the next one, the pension contribution, it is clearly given in the question, 20,000 into the company's occupational pension scheme for each of 3 directors. Yes, that is also done by the company on behalf of the employees. So the pension contribution is also a deductible expense. Which is 60,000. Which is 60,000. Why have I taken 60,000? Yes, 20,000 multiplied by 3 directors. Okay, so make sure you understand all of this. You are not writing anything, just listening to me and then doing the answer. So that is all that we have. So as per the question, yes, we have covered everything. We have not left anything at all. Yes, so 264,000 minus you get 150,810. Then you again reduce 17,044, and then you reduce 60,000, and this will give you 36,146. So that is the value, 36,146. I hope this is the figure that is available in your suggested solution also. So this is the figure that should be available in your suggested solution. And then what else you need to reduce? Yes, you don't need to reduce anything. And what is the rate that you're going to apply? Yes, since it is less than 50,000, you will be applying how much? 19%. So this is the taxable income. So this is the taxable income. And the income tax liability. Yes, to get into the income tax liability, you get this at 19%. Okay, so 19% multiplied by 36,146 will give you how much? 36,146 multiplied by 19% will give you 6868. I'm rounding it off. It has to be 6868. Okay. So this is what the taxable So the income tax liability is. And then what the question is asking, yes, we are done with this. What is the examiner is asking in the final scenario? Yes, that is to include. Okay, we'll go on to the final this thing again. Compare the total tax and NIC and state if there is any saving. So that is very important. They are asking what is the saving. So what is the saving? Okay, first of all, what is the amount that you need to pay before registering the company as a company? Yes. So the partnership, if it is a partnership business, how much will you pay as taxes? Clearly given in the question, 68,877, if I'm not wrong. Yes, 68,877. Okay, and if it is a company, okay, if it is a company, what are the amounts that you require to pay? Yes, this amount is a very important part. You need to pay this amount. And then what else? Yes, this amount is also required. Why am I adding this amount? This is for the individuals. Why I am doing this for the companies as well? Yes, even if you incorporate it as a company, you still have to pay your individual income tax. So whatever the money that you are receiving as an individual, you need to definitely pay this as the income tax. So even if you're registering as a company, you still have to pay this as an individual. So what else? Yes, so this is very important. And then the national insurance contribution related to employee and employer. So this is what they are asking. So the company will be paying this amount, 6868, plus this amount, 30,720. So 30,720. And then what else? Yes, the national insurance contribution, clearly given. The employer contribution, this the company will be paying. The company will be paying 17,044. And then what else? Yes, the employee related contribution, which is 13,572. That is very, very important. So these are the four figures that the company, that the partners and the company together will need to pay. So the addition of all of these will give you 6868 plus 3720 plus 17044 plus 13572 will give you 68204. Will give you 68204. And then what is this amount? 68,877. That is before registering as a company. So 68,877. So what is the saving? The examiner is asking what is the saving? The saving by registering your business as a company. Then if you reduce this amount from this, and it will give you 673 of savings. Yes, this is very important. So this is what the examiner is asking. So make sure these small concepts you will be able to obtain the knowledge. How? Yes, by continuous practice. And I hope we are done with the question number 1, and then we will be moving on to the question number 2 in the next video. So thank you for watching the question number 1, and then we will be moving on to question number 2. Make sure you watch that as well before ending your studies.